Hi everyone. I thought I'd do a video on things that I've returned recently. So, since I don't do favorites very often, things that I didn't like and I've returned just kind of get lost, I think, in the mix because I usually have forgotten by the time I do a favorites that I even returned it. So I thought I would just, since I had done a couple returns here in the past couple days, I would just talk about what I returned and why I returned it. So Target was having, and I don't have any of these things, so I will insert probably a picture of these things so you know what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it, because I have nothing to hold. At Target there was a cartwheel, I believe, of 10% off all makeup and nail polish. And I had a gift card that we had bought, I think last holiday, where it was 10% off to buy a gift card. So we maxed out by all the gift cards we could. So it's money that we spent, but it was quite some time ago. So those gift cards I've just been using kind of here and there on things that I can't really get a good discount on. So I mainly picked up makeup that I can't use coupons on and that kind of thing, or the discounts are very few and far between. So I did use the gift card on some things from Sonia, Kashuk, and Pixie. Two of the things from that purchase I have returned. The Pixi Neutralizing Primer, which is their green primer. I have this whole like makeup sandwich thing, which I have talked about in my empties, which I recorded today. So same outfit, same makeup situation. And it didn't really neutralize the redness on my face, and it also did not wear as well as the Hourglass Veil Primer, which in that foundation sandwich can keep stuff on my face for an extremely long period of time. So it didn't really do anything I wanted, so I did return that. And I bought the little one, the like travel size. I believe it was not the full size, so I think it was only around $12. So I do appreciate that there was that option of at least trying out a smaller size first before getting the full size for less money, but it really did not work well. I have a lot of pink in my nose, on my chin, and on my cheeks, and especially with the foundation I'm using now, which isn't yellow enough for me, it does not, a lot of that pink kind of shows through. So I've been trying to figure out ways to, the foundation wears so well, I want to keep using it, but to get it to work better on my face. So I actually got a sample of the Makeup Forever Neutralizing Primer, or Redness Correcting Primer, whatever they call it, and I'm wearing that today for the first time. So that seemed to actually cancel out some of the redness a little bit better. Anyway, the other thing I returned was the Sonia Kashuk Undetectable Stick Foundation in Alabaster. It was a little bit dark, but the main, well, I mean, that was really half the issue, is it was a little bit dark. And the other issue, it was very yellow though, so I appreciated that. And I could apply it with the stick on my face and then blend it out with my hands. Not a brush, of course. I could use a sponge, but if I can use my hands, I'd rather use those instead of a sponge. But the issue was, even with my magical foundation sandwich, it just wore off too quickly. And so I don't want to mess around with a foundation now that I can get them to last really well on me. That doesn't last, especially my face skin situation is most likely going to change after I have the baby, so and get back to more oily. So if it's breaking down on me now, I know that it's definitely not going to work when my face is oilier. So I did return that. I think though it's a fairly nice foundation if you don't have issues with foundation not lasting. So if you can usually get a good amount of wear, like 8 hours out of any foundation, 8 to 10, I would say maybe it's worth trying out, but not otherwise. I would say the color I got was between NC10 and NC15 would be my guess. Alabaster. Then I returned 3 things to Ulta. One was that Becca Radiant Glow Kit, which I'm kind of sad about because the pressed Moonstone highlighter I love, 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 love. But it really was not worth keeping the entire kit just for a little mini of the highlighter. So the Under Eye Brightening Concentrate, yeah, it kind of brightened, but it felt like the only reason it was brightening was because of the shimmer and how like dewy it was. So it felt like it wasn't really correcting per se. It was just reflecting the light back. And it didn't do enough correcting for me to really want to use it. And it was so sticky. Yeah, once I put concealer over it and set it, it just didn't seem to make that much of a difference. If I use something like a more peachy concealer, then I can definitely, sometimes I can get away with just that, but not with that Becca one. So that I didn't love. I did enjoy the Beach Tint Souffle lip thing. Felt really nice on the lips. It was a very pretty color, but again, I didn't love it enough to justify keeping that whole kit. And was there something else in there? I think the other thing was a spotlight of sized tube of the Shimmering Skin Perfector, the liquid one in Opal. And I already have one of those, so that also does not, I don't need to. So that went back. That was kind of a bummer. I had bought that like really almost kind of an impulse buy because there was another Becca kit that came out, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago now, maybe longer. And I remember seeing it in the catalog from Ulta. I went online to buy it and it was gone already. I was so frustrated. So frustrated. So I was so afraid to like miss out on this kit, even though really it wasn't as geared to what I wanted as the other kit was. So anyway, I'm looking into ways to see how I want to get Becca Moonstone pressed. I don't know yet. There are some kits and this and that. We'll see. I'm waiting for the sales before I investigate any further. Ulta should, for their platinum, I feel like it's about time that another 20% coupon comes out. But it may also be the one that applies to all of their Ulta rewards people, just because I think there is one somewhere around the same time as the VIB sale with Sephora. And that one I believe is also in November at some point too. So yeah, I'm trying to bide my time and figure out a way to get Moonstone at a decent price. I don't necessarily want the full size. I want to see if I can find it in the set of things that I want. Anyway. And the last two things I returned to Ulta were two lipsticks, and they were from Essence, and they were in the I Love Nudes collection, I believe is what it's called. Or maybe that's what it's called elsewhere, I'm not really sure. The tube was different than the standard black tube. It was like, I think each one, the color of the tube was more to reflect the color of the lipstick. So I had the two lightest, I believe. One, I definitely know the name was Porcelain Doll. The other one, Wearing Only a Smile, I think that's what it was called. I'm not really sure. I can't really find anything else that really matches up like on the Ulta site, so it must have been that one. I didn't even try to use that one as much as I did the Porcelain Doll. The problem that I had with them is that, well, the lightest one is very light and it's a little bit frosty, so that's a little tricky to wear in the best of cases. But the issue that ultimately I had was that they were too thin, they weren't pigmented enough, and too slippery. So even when I fully exfoliated my lips, they just sank into my lip lines really badly. And so there wouldn't be much on my actual lips, and it was just collecting in the lines. And if I, applied it, then blotted it, and then maybe layered it with something else, I could sort of get it to work for me. but it was just too much. Now, I did debate on whether I should return this one, and this is out of their regular collection, and it's called Nude Love. This one does something kind of similar, but it's not as glossy, slippery as the other ones. So I feel like I can work with it a little bit more. I don't have to do so much like jumping through hoops to get it to work on my lips. And I like the color. It's a very nice light nude shade. So yeah, those two had to go back, unfortunately, which is a bummer. But I'm really trying to be better. I've just done a pretty large clean out of my makeup collection, and I really don't want to hang on to things that sort of work. I want to only keep things that really work, that I really enjoy, and just return stuff. Because what happens is I talk myself into thinking I can make something work, but really I can't. And so then it just sits and it doesn't get used, or I might use it every once in a while. And it just doesn't make sense, you know, unless I really love it and I really can use it, I shouldn't keep it. Because that's why I end up collecting too much stuff of things that I don't really love. Yeah. So anyway, that is everything that I've returned in the past month or so. Maybe, yeah, I think probably month. It's been a while since I had returned anything before that. Let me know if you have anything that you've returned lately or you're thinking about returning. I'm also kind of on the fence, honestly, still about the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette. I like the blushes in it. I have diffuse light and full size. I have dim light, which I use kind of as a bronzer out of the ambient lighting palette. The highlighter is a little bit kind of glittery almost, like really fine glitter. So that's a little bit, I don't know. I think I still have time that I can return it. I don't know. I can't make up my mind. I wouldn't want to buy the blushes full size is the problem. That's what really gets me, is that I like the blushes, but I don't want to buy them full size. It would be about the same price. They should have like little travel size blushes, like they have a little travel size of dim light. Anyway, so I think that's everything. Yeah. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.